cannot act like you would live in the times of Chuck Berry or Elvis. In the 50s, the pure existence of rock and roll was kind of a statement. At least it was a provocation.
Look what you've done to me. It ain't no gold.
Can you imagine? It's fucking 40 years ago since the last revolution. It's a bit scary, isn't it?
Breaking news. Just forgot my dissolution. I don't know how it will be. I believe in retribution. Look what you've done to me. What you've done to me.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs says that humans start to ask for culture not before their basic needs are satisfied. But I think this is completely wrong. Why would our ancestors paint the walls of their caves over 20,000 years ago? Because of shit enough free time they had? Because of all the security? Or because hunting tigers and bears was a fun hobby? I disagree. Art is significant, and rock and roll especially. And when everything is fucked up, we need art more than ever. The sound, the song, some rock and roll. Or to say it with the legendary words of our rock and roll hero Bon Scott, let there be light, sound, drums, guitar. Let there be rock.
What you've done to me.
Sure, this movie is about the meaning of rock and roll, but it's also about Europe, politics, and a reflection of the things that were going on while our band was on the road in 2015. Well, history is a rolling train, and its wheels would never stop to turn. And so, shortly after we'd finished editing this movie, we faced a new development when the British people decided to leave the European Union. My co-producer was concerned. Would our film losing its meaning? Was the topic no longer current? Well, I don't think so, and I didn't panic at all. The Brexit was only the result of all the things that were supposed to happen in the year before. Brexit, refugees and NATO maneuvers at the Russian border. This all just set the bricks to build the stage. And in the end, there is nothing new under the sun. We're just dust in the wind,
and each generation is nothing else than another brick in the wall. I, as an author and musician, might not be able to change the world or its history, but I can shed some light on the things that happen right here, right now. And I guess it's supposed to be one part of my job, facing and reflecting history here, there, and even a million miles from home. I could hardly believe what happened in summer 2015. A bunch of well-dressed bastards started to destroy the big idea of united Europe, and they did it in the name of private banks and capitalism. A system that seems to allow the 2% to steal everything away from the 98% of hard-working people. Bob Dylan was truly right in his song Slow Train. The enemy I see wears a clock of decency. Everybody could see the catastrophe in the summer and fall of 15, and maybe, therefore, the crisis in the Ukraine was left to escalate. Now, nobody would talk about the euro and about the disaster in Greece anymore.
I should be bound for glory, but I know tonight it's the same old story. Just gotta win another fight. Rock and roll welfare.
In this summer 2015, the majority probably did not see the danger. The whole world seemed to be occupied with another serious topic. Will FIFA big shot Joseph Blatter go to prison? At least the European media couldn't get enough of this soap opera, and maybe some people took the soap even as a kind of a parable. The rise and the fall of another king and emperor.
Then up there, and this drifter cannot fail. Oh, it's a rock and roll welfare, sweet mother load. It's a rock and roll welfare. You'll pay me there before I hit the road.
In the fall of 2015, while we were touring with the legendary Scottish band Nazareth, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel spoke out a possibly slightly hasty invitation to all refugees to come to Germany. An act that later was explained with Merkel's Christian background. Well, a nice attitude, if only it were true. However, when in Greece the mortality rate was rising and the number of suicides went through the roof because of the huge economy crisis, Brussels and Berlin didn't seem to care that much about Christian values. Indeed, there was no mercy on the Greeks. At least it was a serious business. It was all about money and the money system.
So, in this country, so it's a hard situation for the young bands. It's difficult to make your name bigger and bigger, so but it's still fine, I think. I'm afraid that this situation with this war conflict and money depends. I'm scared about it because it happens really fast.
But who cared about Greece when 1 million of refugees were on the way to Europe? It was a big fuss, and it still is. But none of this official even really talked about the roots of the refugees' misery. Germany, as an example, does not stop to deliver firearms to Saudi Arabia.
even if everybody knows that these weapons are going to be part of the kingdom's warfare. And the European politicians didn't even try to involve the US into the matter to solve the problem, even if they actually were the ones who started the mess in the first place.
Stuck somewhere.
Stuck somewhere in Poland where they don't take euro, even though they're in a eurozone.
You know, this probably has to do with the name.
Yes, the Donald syndrome. Right?
We have a Donald problem.
The Donald problem.
We have Donald Trump,
Yeah,
Donald Rumsfeld, Donald Tusk, and Donald Duck.
that's every Donald is a problem. He's a trouble starter. That's it. Oh well. At least with Donald Duck we can fry him.
Donald Duck for president.
Donald Duck and lunch.
Well, he's orange too. I mean, at least his mouth, right?
That's what I say. You have Donald for president, Donald Duck for president, and then for lunch.
I gave you money too.
I gave you money too. That's why, man.
Oh, that's the. Okay, this song is I wrote it 1.5 years ago, and today it's even more actual than it was then when I wrote it. The world starts to get a little bit crazy, right? I mean, have you heard of that fucking bullshit? Angela Merkel nominated for the Nobel Prize? Are you fucking kidding me? Well, it fits to the role of Henry Kissinger and Obama, and you name it. I mean, they can give you that, then they can give it to you. I'll take it. We have a nice party then. All right, this is about Frank Zappa. You know Frank Zappa? Yeah. Frank Zappa once said, "Politics is only the entertainment for the dealers with weapons and for the war makers." And I think it's fucking right. And this is about this. It's called Fucking My Body!
Great bands. They don't even know how good they are. That's good. It's good for us as an agency.
Einwandfrei.
Ja, super war das.
Sound war einwandfrei.
Sound war spitze.
So, hey, das war auch der Bühne jetzt gut. Das war was ganz anderes. Jetzt war's perfekt.
I'm a groover, I'm the prince of all time, I'm the greatest, I'm a mover, the dancer, the prancer.
Stevie, you have...
Stevie, tell us a little bit. What do you think about Luke Gusser and his band?
I love Luke Gusser and his band. A great band. I'm delighted to do the lights for them. Fantastic guys, full of fun. And Luke loves the haze. And I like the beams, because there ain't no light without no haze.
I will tell you one thing, for you who don't know, the only place on the planet that has more Polish people than here in Warsaw is my hometown, Chicago. That's a fact, man. Check that out.
You're just rock fans? You like rock and roll? Do people from Poland like rock and roll?
It depends.
People in Poland love rock and roll, but they are old people and today they are tired.
The meaning of rock and roll in Poland, unfortunately not good. but because the disco music rules, it sucks.
Then we arrived in this venue here in Warsaw, and this is a wrecked place. I mean, it looks like if you listen to the old AC/DC stories or biographies, I think Bon Scott had to play until '78 in venues like that.
Yeah.
Small, dirty, but charming somehow, and somehow crazy. And but I think Nazareth didn't like it that much.
This is like heebie-jeebies, except for this is 2015.
It's about the same size there.
Yeah, maybe even a little smaller.
Even smaller, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not very big, but it's very packed. A lot of people tonight, and if the club is not too big and it's really packed,
Yeah, it's
this is rock and roll.
Thank you so much. You're the funny greatest audience of this whole tour. We drove 10 hours to here, and it wasn't worth it. I tell you.
Again and again, European and especially German politicians would show off the poor European taxpayer. The social worker from Cologne, the baker from Stuttgart, or the plumber from Hamburg, just trying to make a living. They had to see the hard-earned money off just to support the lazy bones in Greece. Nobody seemed to care about the fact that hardly ever €1 made it to Athens. The money transfer sure wasn't either about supporting the suffering Greeks nor about saving Greece's economy. Instead, the money was used to save the German and French banks again. The second support with billions of euros after the crash in 2008. Well, to hold the Greeks accountable against better knowledge was pretty bold and could easily be called sedition.
The world is a wonderful place and I'm glad to be a part of it, even more so being today in Regensburg with Luke Gasser and what's the other one's called? Nazareth. Nazareth. Right, enjoy the rest of your day.
In the fall of 2015, the big sail out started after Alexis Tsipras had buckled. Wolfgang Schäuble and the officials in Brussels now were talking about austerity. And right before that, huge bargain was made by the private company which Portugal and Spain had to sell their state property to. All in the name of the European Union and pressured by the so-called Troika. In spring and summer of 15, it was on the Greeks to sell rapidly everything that had a value. For example, all important harbors to the Chinese and thousands of acres of good land to rich private investors. Again, all under the pressure of the Troika. Actually, there is no point to hurry if one will make a good deal, right? So why did it all have to go so fast? Another good question.
Movie watching people. I'm Zach, in case you don't know. I'm playing bass with the Luke Gasser Band, and we got the great pleasure to be hanging out for the whole European tour with Nazareth. We're in Regensburg now. We just came in. We checked out the city today. had something to drink, had some ice cream. Now we're here to do sound check. So I want to wish all you guys a great day, and remember one thing, man, whatever you do, make it rock and roll. Peace.
Everything just could be done.
Yeah, likewise. How have you been? Great. So, okay, you can just walk over there. Okay?
Would be soaking up the sun.
No.
I should relax.
A few years ago, I read an interview of the Austrian actor Klaus Maria Brandauer. And in that interview, he said that artists or actors should accept that they would not have a chance to change anything. I mean, they would not have any power to change anything in a society, and they should have accept the role just to entertain people.
Well, that sounds rather pessimistic to me. Is that true for you as well?
Well, I respect the humility in that words, but no. It's not my opinion at all. I think art is very important. I mean, there were always artists. They somehow were kind of the pushed things that make a change. As an example, can you imagine the 1968 revolution without the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, or Bob Dylan? I mean, it was not just only because they did the soundtrack to that social revolution or some social changes. It was also kind of a revolutionary poetry, and each revolution or each fight needs poetry and songs.
I could tell you truths. I could give you entertainment, or is it holy smoke? Are you asking for just to get your kicks? Damn it, I'm fucking bored and I don't like your tricks. I'm not your somebody man.
So you say that artists definitely have power. So is like the stage for you something like a podium?
Oh no! I'm not into this Bono or Bob Geldof stuff at all. Definitely, I'm not interested to be something like a ceremony man. I mean, I was not 10 or 15 years in school like most in Middle Europe, just to have the freedom of choice in Starbucks to decide which flavor I would like to have, cinnamon or sugar or strawberry, or push the channels on TV with a lot of entertainment stuff. I mean, entertainment is cool, but it cannot be the answer to everything, right?
I could turn you on. I could buy you booze or tell you news, but baby, I am not the one. I am sick and tired of what we are bound. Damn it, I am not inspired and I don't want to.
Sometimes I start to wonder who would really care about the issues of the working class and the middle class. So who wonders that more and more people are scared to fall down the social ladder? Not a problem, as long most of the people still have something to lose. Maybe there are good reasons that European police departments started with the training to learn how to react on social riots. Meanwhile, institutions like the European Union, the ECB and the IMF forced Greece to sell the 29 most profitable airports of the country to private owners at ridiculous prices. The new owners are now German companies. Nothing wrong with that, right? In the fall, when we were touring Europe with the rock legends of Nazareth, even the dumbest idiot should have seen it. World gone wrong, and somehow the social and political compass has gotten lost. And until today, hardly anyone seems to be in the know, and even the press seem to turn their back on critical reporting. Well, they still keep the food affordable, and TV and radio entertain people day and night. And according to Mick Jagger, they are telling us more and more about useless information supposed to fire our imagination. Yeah, right on, Mick. And that's why we still can get no satisfaction. In the meantime, the Euro problem managed to take a back seat. The refugee crisis in October of 15 was too huge and would soon cause out the outbreak of a threatening crisis within the states of the European Union. Angela Merkel indeed made a solo attempt at sorting things out right before the start of our European rock and roll tour.
Das ist, glaube ich, ein wichtiges Signal an Sie, dass der Islam, so wie der Bundespräsident Wulff es gesagt hat, zu uns in Deutschland inzwischen gehört.
And then she demanded that the European partner countries would receive her solo with solidarity and gratitude. Well, the reaction of the European countries were drastic. They began to build fences, walls, and to put up barbed wires. But what's fallen by the wayside is the Syrian refugees' hardship, whose home country goes down the drain through a terrible conflict, indeed a conflict with the dimension of a world war. Nothing would hit the bull's-eye better than a phrase in a Rolling Stones song from 1969. Rape, murder is just a shot away. Yes, indeed, this all happens just a shot away, not more than 4 hours by an airplane. That's maybe the other side of globalism.
Die Gewalt gegen Flüchtlingsunterkünfte in Deutschland geht weiter. In Chemnitz haben Rechtsradikale die Scheiben einer Kirche eingeworfen, in der Asylsuchende untergebracht werden sollen. 2 Flüchtlingshelfer wurden verletzt. Auch in Dresden kam es zu Krawallen vor einer geplanten Notunterkunft. Manche sprechen schon von einer neuen Intifada. So angespannt sind die Beziehungen zwischen Israelis und Palästinensern in Jerusalem. Heute hat wieder ein Palästinenser 2 Israelis angegriffen. Der 16-Jährige ist mit einem Messer auf Polizisten losgegangen und wurde erschossen. Es war die 13. Messerattacke auf Israelis binnen 8 Tagen. Polizei und Armee gehen ihrerseits mit Gewalt gegen Palästinenser vor.
Trail, a rolling stone, it's pretty pale on its own, but instead of water it's flowing through the land. So I'm here a million miles from home, where fallen angels come to die. Broken winners start to moan, where saints and sinners walk alone, where heaven's angels only come to cry. Oh, here I am, righteous far from home. I would make a stand where I come to roam. Hear me sweet, sang the rolling Conway. For your mercy I am on the run. On Percy, come on, wipe these tears away. Wipe these tears away.
I'm backstage here, 2 minutes to go for Luke Gusser's big thing. Luke, you want to say something to all the fans?
Hey, hello everybody. It's great to be here. It's great that you're here.
Thank you. And what are you going to do? I mean, 2 minutes to go now, like 5 minutes. Are you guys ready?
We try to do the best show we ever played.
Right.
Even we didn't change the drummer.
That's right.
Still the same drummer.
I want to thank the Academy. Oh no, wait.
The Granny.
Yeah, right. I want to thank my mother, my father, my sister, and my friends at home.
Me too. I want to thank his friends at home too.
Why is you got no friends?
No, I have to use his friends.
We are a band with 2 musicians and a drummer.
And drummer must be not occupied, accompanied by an adult at all times.
You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. But when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move.
Usually, when times get harder, people turn to faith and religion. But obviously, this is changing a lot. It's kind of remarkable how many people in the Western world tend more and more to agnosticism and even atheism. It seems that faith and religion don't give answers to the issues of our time anymore. Maybe because so many strongly believe that modern science would answer every question and technology would be a new blessing that released us from superstitious and naive fairy tales. Nowadays, the school and the education system ask for more mathematical and more pragmatic education to support the economy. And within one generation, a great part of our cultural background begins to erupt and even disappear. Teachers in art classes tell me that their students would hardly be able to read the semiotic backgrounds neither in movies such as Matrix or Star Wars, nor in the art of the last centuries, all due to the lack of knowledge about the Christian heritage. I don't want to judge if this is good or bad, especially since faith and religion are personal issues. At least here in Europe, churches were maybe too decent or even too cowardly to set their points of view. And one thing is for sure, pussies would never ever make a difference at all. But on the other hand, and in my opinion, Christianity has a lot to offer. It was Mahatma Gandhi who said that most Christians obviously wouldn't have a clue about the sparkling fire and immense power that would live within the Christian message. I agree, and I always recognize Jesus not as a nice guy or a decent social worker, but as a straight and tough man. A few years ago, I researched this amazing and fascinating man for theaters and Swiss national TV. The movie that resulted from it was called The Making of Jesus Christ, and according to the film's title, I tried to look behind the scenes of the life of the probably most important, at least most famous person in human history. I also did the soundtrack, and I was thrilled to write my own gospel song, and I was even more thrilled to perform it with the great German heavy metal legend Doro Pesch. As one of my closest friends, we spent hours and days discussing issues such as faith and the meaning of life over the past years. And we sure agree, whatever we do, we definitely need fire, much more fire on our minds.
I see pilgrims walking, and I wonder where it's going to. And I heard some wise men talking, but they've lost the key. The key to truth.
I stand upon the mountain as I look across the land, and I try to find the fountain with this empty cup in my hand.
Stand on a lonesome crossroad where the devil tries his soul to find. He is worse than the man in a long black coat. My search goes on. I need fire on my mind. On my mind. On my mind. Stand at the shore of the ocean, see the sunset on the deep blue sea.
And how could I have a notion
about eternity? I am sure, baptized with water, but this ain't enough, not enough to fight.
much more fire. On my mind.
Morning.
Something to the world.
Hello world. We're in the Hard Rock Cafe in Hamburg, and we're going to get fucked up.
What is the meaning, Luke, of rock and roll? I have no idea. It's fun. It's we drink a lot. I don't have no idea.
Here, look. Facebook people, now look here. We're hanging out in the Hard Rock Cafe. Look at this. We're in the Hard Rock Cafe. We're hanging out with the boys. But I wanted to introduce you to some people because without these people I'm going to introduce you to, nothing would work for Nazareth. Now check this out. That's Tom. Tom's the man.
Hi there.
You can tell they're working hard. Look, they have margaritas. Look at. Hello. Now you know. So look, like I said, now that's the essence. Because without these guys, there wouldn't even be any equipment on the stage. They say I'm kind, but you know, I'm bribing them. Nah, just kidding. All right, stay tuned. Peace.
Einfach eine Unterschrift und wenn ihr noch irgendwas Nettes für uns zu sagen habt, ne, dann könnt ihr das da auch kundtun.
Let me think.
What you wish on me. Here I think you have the ability.
So, what would you say as an artist? What can you contribute? What are you doing?
Let's talk about Bob Dylan. When he was in the middle of the 80s, he was kind of, I mean, he was in this hardcore fundamentalism, Christianity. He was some kind of sympathized with Orthodox Judaism. He was sympathized somehow with the USA patriotism, this Ronald Reagan bullshit. I mean, it felt like he got in between a rock and a hard place, and then he started to do his never-ending tour, and like a mantra, he was moving on and on and on. He still is, and I think, well, it impresses me somehow. And on one hand, I'm quite happy that it's very cool that he's still out there and playing. As I said in The Big Lebowski, the dude is around in the end of the movie. It's very cool. The dude is around. That Bob Dylan is still around, or the Rolling Stones. I mean, the Rolling Stones, a world with the Rolling Stones is a better world. And I'm happy that they're still around, they're still touring, and they're still there, and they connect people on a certain level. And yeah, well, it is an answer somehow. There are never simple answer anyway.
Wir sind jetzt hier in Pilsen angekommen, das wir vom Bier her kennen. Das ist ein ganz, ganz cooler Ort. Das ist die beste Venue, glaube ich, auf der ganzen Tour. Und die Leute sind total nett. Und was auch ganz cool ist, die verstehen echt was von Technik. Das ist unglaublich. Überall geht in die Soundcheck. So, zack, zack, zack. Und der Sound ist verdammt gut. Es ist ein echtes Vergnügen, hier zu spielen. Rock and Roll.
Careful what you say to me. You act so cool, but it ain't hard to see. You claim too loud to be free. I guess it's just insecurities. Be careful
what you say to me. On this tour, we really had a great time with Nazareth. These guys are fucking awesome, and during the tour, we got some kind of a rock and roll family, a bunch of rock and roll warriors on a mission to bring some good rock and roll also to Eastern Europe. We were on the road to Snina in the east of Slovakia, almost at the border to the Ukraine. And on one hand, we were listening to the radio in our van to hear about all these bad things and disasters in the world, but on the other hand, we met hundreds of interesting people everywhere. And sometimes they would tell us about their sorrows and their desires, tell us about beautiful ladies, easygoing chicks, or nasty bitches, about cocksuckers, motherfuckers, beggars and thieves, and saints and sinners.
Die Band hat mir sehr, sehr gut gefallen, weil ihr einfach geil und sympathisch seid und mega Stimmung gemacht habt. Und ja, ich spreche Dialekt, ich hoffe, ihr könnt mich alle verstehen. Fertig!
That's what makes rock and roll a big deal. It connects the big thing with the small things in life, and the history with the stories of common people. In the end, it's the only way to go. And it shows so much truth, and turns rock and roll into the probably most honest and truthful chronicle in our time.
I'd like to introduce myself as a man of wealth and taste. I've been around here since a long, long time, so many men, so wait. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of down pain. I made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his face. Pleased to meet you! How to guess my name? What's not for you is the nature of my game. Be around in St. Petersburg when I saw it was a time for a change. So I killed the Tsar and the ministers, Anastasia, she's screaming in vain. I rode a tank in a general's rank when the blitzkrieg raged and the body stank. Now please meet you.
Sometimes I'm surprised about the lack of historical understanding by European and American politicians. In my point of view, this so-called clash of civilizations of course started long ago and found a new climax in the 1990s. Everybody calls 9/11 the Big Bang of modern religious terrorism, but in my opinion, it all started much earlier. I think it was probably the year 1988 when Pakistani author Salman Rushdie was blamed for bitching about the Prophet and was sentenced to death by fatwa and was internationally declared fair game. Back then, in fall of 1988, the first stepping stone was laid for everything that was to come. And you sure didn't have to be a prophet yourself to see then that there was a slow train coming up around the bend. Bad things were rising then, but the Western world didn't care about things like that. Maybe because everybody was too busy to be part of the casino, a game they called the New Economy. It was in the same years when Great Britain's Labour Party made a ridiculous change to turn into New Labour, while European socialists start to free the rich and wealthy from paying taxes. Back then, some of the lefties drifted off to some kind of gaga esoteric, while Reagan, Thatcher, and the disciples of Milton Friedman had established very efficiently the foundation of a fatal construction, this lethal mix of neoconservatism and neocapitalism. I sure wouldn't consider the Swedish pop group ABBA as prophets or philosophers, but they were right in their 1974 hit Waterloo when they sung that the history book upon the shelf would always repeating itself. Too bad that we mostly won't recognize any kind of repetition before it's too late. Well, I guess there is nothing wrong with ending the story with Bob Dylan. There must be some way out of here, say the Joker to the thief. There is too much confusion, I can get no relief. Businessmen, they drink my wine, plowmen dig my earth. No one of them along the line know what any of this is worth.
Of course, we cannot do that much because the world is so complicated. But on the other hand, we can do everything. I mean, we can do powerful songs that gives people strength. Happens to me in my life too. I mean, I'm so grateful for all this great music. I mean, they gave me so much strength and let me go on. And this is a very important thing. That what things are pushing on. And on the other hand, yeah, it's complicated. There's a Rolling Stones song from 1968, the Beggar's Banquet album, and that really hits the nail. Do you know Street Fighting Man?
Yeah.
You know the chorus line. The chorus line is perfect. It says, "What can a poor boy do except to sing in a rock and roll band? Because sleepy London town is just no place for a street fighting man." And it really hits the nail. I mean, on one hand, you would like to do something, you would like to change something or even make it better. But on the other hand, the world you want to change stands in your way.
Sniffed your cocaine in your fancy car on the way to the West Side's topless bar where the big shots midnight world begin to spin.
Now, in summer 2016, things don't look any better. The provocation of the NATO at the Russian border has reached a dangerous point. And the authorities in Brussels aren't willing at all to learn from the Brexit referendum. They see the reason of the exit vote by the British people in the fact that there would be too much democracy in the European Union. And so, the EU officials seem to agree to put even more power in the hand of the authorities instead of the people. In the US, the people also seem to face a tough situation.
And while traveling there in July 2016, I saw the frustration everywhere. In the land of the free, they just seem to have the choice between plague and cholera. In fact, it won't even make any difference if the one or the other candidate's gonna win. One is a greedy craze, the other appears to me like a threat. Sure, both of them are way different, but at last they're just two sides of the same coin. The Western world and probably the entire world economy, including China, is stuck in a deep crisis. After World War II, there may have been good intention and the will to learn from history, until greed got in the way. It reminds me of Bruce Springsteen's line, "Aren't we riding on a downbound train?" And I was joking around the other day with some buddies that I'd wonder if I'm gonna play my rock and roll in a Mad Max border town one of these days. America is a superpower, and that's why it matters. Okay, Bernie, the third candidate, probably wouldn't have been a savior or a messiah, but he is, even after 40 years of politics, obviously an honest man with the right concepts. But mostly, and to my surprise, people don't want an honest man. In the end, they always trust the system. Bernie is a maverick, and the system won't even tolerate a maverick. Sadly, deep in the heart, people probably don't even want to have independence. Well, maybe they're right when they say that people in a democracy always get the government they deserve. Or, as we say in Switzerland, in the end, just the stupidest calves choose their own butchers. You know what the Chinese say if they don't like to wish good luck to somebody?
No.
May it be that you live in interesting times.
Sometimes I think it's rather crazy how much it takes till someone would resist. They seem to wait, dejected, scared and lazy, too afraid to get on the wicked list. And me, I tried so hard to keep my visions as I tried to keep this faith of mine. I hear the words of sleazy politicians. They're like poison in my glass of wine. I feel the wind, I see the reed is swaying as you ride like a Sioux across the field. Children start to laugh as they're playing. Now I know strong hearts will never yield. To see the red roses blossom in your garden, they shine like a ruby in the sun. My fair lady, I humbly beg your pardon. Bad things I have done.
Summer's eve, you feel gently breezes blowing. It blows my mind, this must be my destiny. I'm where you are, I'm going where you're going. Just turn around, what you see is me.
Well, I can't believe all the trouble you make. Oh, I can't believe all the trouble you make. Well, first you appeared so fine, then you threw the pearls and swine. I can't believe all the trouble you make. What you've done to me. Oh, I can't believe what you've done to me.
Ook met hij er niet honger.
Nee.
En laat me van rock'n'roll.
A little announcement to do.
Yes, we're somewhere out here in the middle of, I have no idea, but there's an airplane, so it must be close to an airport. Or port air. Something. Yeah, man. It's pretty cool, actually.
and about the meaning of rock and roll here out there.
The meaning of rock and roll here is rock and roll. Man, first gig on the second half of the tour, back with the boys Nazareth. We're getting ready to do our sound check. We're in a place called Bamberg. Now, interesting thing about Bamberg, when I was a youngster in the military, I was based right here in Bamberg, man. I got kicked out of every company I was in, ended up in some place in the headquarters company. Anyway, had a great time. Oh, also, it's the first place that I ever smoked pot. It's also the first place I ever visited a woman of the night. And the first place I ever saw a transvestite. Now, there's a lesson in here for you, young guys. Who's that creeping around in the back? This is a lesson. If you don't respect authority, if you do drugs and mess with transvestites and women for the night, you might find yourself with people like that and, like me, be a bass player. All right, anyway, it's gonna be rocking, dude. You gotta check it out. When we're in your town, maybe, just maybe, for you Swiss people, we might be at the Z7. I'll let you know. All right, talk to you later. Peace.